Welcome to the Diamond Niner Gals podcast. This is season 2, episode 1. I am Nick, joined as always by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
Producer Brad, making it all go.
Hey.
And last but never, ever least, the HSC head softball coach, Ashley Chastain. What's up, Coach?
Hey, how are y'all?
We're great. I mean, why wouldn't we be great? Look at what time of year it is. We're back to it's late January, and you guys are about 10 days from kicking off the season, and we're here talking Niner Gals. So why wouldn't we be great?
You have a good point.
Hard to argue with that, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see here. We got a lot to go through tonight. I guess last time we really spoke like this in this format, you guys were about to head to Durham. So not to dwell on that, Coach, but if you want to take, because I know how it is, it's tunnel vision, right? You're looking forward 2024 season, but if you wanted to take 30 seconds and sort of put a bow on that 23 campaign, how would you do that?
Wow, that's
no
big
pressure. No
that's
pressure.
A big
No
tall
pressure.
task, 30 seconds.
I know. Well, you know what? For you, have 45.
It's unforgettable. I think I still find myself many days where I just relive something that happened or relive the memory, or, we talk about something that happened last year as a staff or with the team, so it was unforgettable. And, we've moved on, and, we're halfway through the year with this team, about to, like you said, 10 days away from getting going down in Tallahassee. So, we're very much focused on this year's group and really excited about that, and really would love to talk through this year's team. But the last time we were in this setting, we were about to head to Durham and compete in the Duke Regional for the first time in program history for the NCAA tournament. And we were on the high, and it was awesome. We lost on Sunday in the final, and life moves on fast. I think I was reminded of that really quickly. Kind of coming out of the regional, you get a few days to kind of relish and, the excitement of that. And then life, keeps ticking and keeps moving on, and time passes. And then it becomes just, cherished time and memories, and, just things you'll never forget. And it changed our program, that weekend alone, and Duke changed our program. And it was a lot of fun, and it's always fun to think about it.
Yeah, and you're right, Coach. The time does move on fast, and everything just keeps going. Kevin, in fact, it was really as soon as things were over at Duke, Kevin, we moved right into summer ball and professional softball draft and the whole thing.
Yeah, and one quick thing about that Durham Regional, it was a great experience as a fan. I rank it very high. I've been a 49er fan for a long time. It's very high on my 49er experiences. To see the first NCAA tournament game in program history, and then see the first win in program history was great. I'll never forget that. It was a great atmosphere, and great for the program.
Yeah, it was. I just have got to give a lot of credit to everyone that came to the regional, because I don't know if I've gone on record and said that since it happened. So, there's probably some acknowledgement due there on my end. But gosh, Niner Nation showed up, showed out. It was really chippy and intense in the stadium and the stands. I remember, there was just a lot of banter back and forth, but specifically between our fans and Duke. And I just remember some people got escorted out and brought back in. We're in the dugout, so I usually hear about this stuff secondhand and post game, but it was chippy, and we love a rowdy crowd. I know we're going to get to, that for this season here in a little bit, but the Duke Regional was awesome from a support standpoint. It was well put on. Duke did a great job, and it really couldn't have gone smoother or better for our first experience as a program at regionals. The NCAA reps were great. We had a great experience.
Yeah, that was some, and those guys that were maybe shown the door student supporters. That was unjust. I'm going to go ahead and record because, oh my gosh, if the kind of stuff they were doing gets you thrown out in Durham, Duke should probably play their basketball games in an empty arena. I'll just go ahead and say that because what they jumped on those guys for was really weak, really weak, really lame on the part of whoever was in charge of that. So anyway, that's all we've got to say about that. So let's talk through the summer a little bit because there were a couple of cool things here, Kevin. Some kind of more milestones for the program, really.
Yeah. Bailey Vinoy, she was selected by the Florida Vibe to join their team. She became the second professional 49er softball player in program history. It was fun following her this summer. They kind of playing games here and there. I think they actually played some of our girls in the and they played a lot of collegiate teams. So it was fun to follow her this summer. Also this summer, some of the gals went off and played summer college ball in different leagues. Lena Elkins was named Pitcher of the Year in the Music City Collegiate League, and I think Savannah Wynn was on the All-Star team. She played the Florida Gulf Coast Leagues. Their All-Star team played against the Florida Vibe for a couple games down there. So excited to follow them this summer and see what they're up to.
Yeah, I think that's an area of our game that is just kind of exploding. There are so many opportunities now for them to play over the summer in different areas. I mean, even this summer, you're going to see a lot more leagues and teams. I think there's one starting in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is not too far from Charlotte. So it's really exciting. It's a testament to the growth of the game right now and just the opportunities that people are, getting behind our sport and funding and giving opportunities for these amazing players to keep playing and opportunity for them to get better and grow the game in different communities. So I'm always really excited when we start having end of the year conversations. A lot of these conversations, like Savannah Wynn, Lena Elkins, Brooke Bowling went and pitched for the same team that Lena pitched for. These conversations happen very early in the spring because they kind of have to plan out their summers. It's not like we get done playing and then it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to make this decision. So we start having these conversations at some point in the season, and it just really felt like it was the right opportunity for those gals to go down or go to Nashville or Florida. Savannah was in Florida. Lena and Brooke were in Nashville. So it just was the right thing for them to do, and they could make it work with their summer months. And I was grateful and excited for them to take on that opportunity. Lena showed out. Lena had a great summer, and she threw a lot for us last year, but I think, just being able to continue to work to improve her game. And, she's better now for that last summer. And so she reaped a lot of reward from that investment in herself and, just had a lot of fun on a different team and making new connections with other people. Brooke Bowling is one that, I'm sure we'll get to talk about the pitching staff at some point, whether it's this episode or next week's episode. But Brooke was somebody that really hasn't been able to compete for our program on the field yet. And so she just really took the opportunity to go pitch a lot. I mean, she tragically tore ACL right when she came to Charlotte her freshman year, and that has just set her back a little bit in her career, but she's thriving right now. And I think also like her taking the opportunity to go pitch last summer and get those innings under her belt really has prepared her to help us win this season and be a contributing factor of our pitching staff. And then you alluded to Bailey being the second player to get drafted and play pro for our program. And, Bailey just continues to pave the way and create opportunities for our brand to represent our program, in so many ways, and just keep knocking down doors for future Niners to know that they have a place in pro ball and they can go play. And she had a great experience. I mean, I kind of watched from afar all summer of her posts and, the scores and her stats and her games, and we would check in every now and then. But she had a great summer and I think really enjoyed it. And to my knowledge, I think she's going to sign again and play again. Don't hold me to that, but I think that is the plan, or at least it was the
Did we
plan.
just break news here on the Diamond Niner Gals podcast?
I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but I should text her real fast and see if it's true. But I know she had a really great experience, and I won't be surprised if she does end up signing again and playing again this summer with that team. They've got a lot of really great players. They have great leadership in their manager and their coaches, and so it's a great place to keep playing the game.
And Boo is now Coach Boo, correct?
Yeah, she kind of out of nowhere. It was an opportunity that landed her way, came her way. She just got the hitting job at Lipscomb. She was working in our department with some student life and with our administrations doing different things this fall semester, kind of getting her feet underneath her, trying to figure out what the next steps were, and got this great opportunity to go be the hitting coach at Lipscomb. And I'm excited to see how she handles it, what she does. We've texted back and forth a few times. I think she's loving life in Nashville and really excited to get to work with this team. I know she just got there at, for the second semester. So she's been with the team about a month now. And so I'm sure we'll be checking with her throughout the season, those first few seasons as a young coach, learning everything and kind of removing the player hat and putting on the coach hat. It's a difficult transition in a lot of ways. It's a lot of fun. But I'm sure her and Lexi Wagner and Cass Krupa, who are on our staff this year, I'm sure they'll all be communicating about, that transition. So the Niner gal is, that branch is just branching out, and it's cool to see, the coaching tree extend, people stay in the game and influence the game. So it's a proud moment for us as a staff to see her make that move.
Coach, that's a great segue. You definitely read the script. We're going to transition to talking about our coaching staff.
Yeah,
she's so good at this. Why are we even here?
It wouldn't be near as entertaining without the two of you, so you have to stay.
Let's talk about. Go ahead, Nick.
No, I was just saying we're just here to fill in the spots around the great things that you have to say. So happy to do it. Go ahead, Kevin.
So you mentioned our coaching staff. We've got a couple of new grad assistants. You want to go through the coaching staff for this season that's been working since, I guess, July, August?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that was kind of a little bit of why I alluded to earlier with we got done with the regional and you enjoy it for a few days. And, for me, I went from one regional to another regional, as you guys know, and you were there. We experienced that one together, but our baseball program competed at the Clemson Regional. So I just went from one regional high to the next, the second one being the biggest fan and supporter I can be, and really enjoying just taking that seat for a couple days. But, then it moves, you move on. And I think part of leading a program and coaching, these are some of the tougher days, some of the things that you aren't necessarily always prepared for. And, it's not about managing the team itself, but the program and, it's the business side of it. You put together a great staff and you win and you have, you have a product people are following and watching and supporting and, our coaches are going to have interest. And so I was not surprised that, Taylor, who is a dear friend of mine and someone that, I owe a lot of gratitude for 4 years ago coming on board and helping me side by side change this program to what it is today. She gets a lot of credit for that, but decided that she needed to move on for her career and take the next step. And, we wish her well. We still talk often, but it was an opportunity for me to kind of evaluate what the staff needed, what I wanted the staff to look like. So those are just like recruiting players. Those are some of the most important, if not the most important decisions we make, is who's involved in the program as far as in the locker room and on the field. The staff, it's the same decision. Who are you going to trust with your career and the team? So that's a short list for me, to be honest. I had a couple of people in mind and started having those conversations pretty early in the summer when I knew I was going to be making a hire. And it was a little bit of a long process once we started having those conversations because, as everyone knows now, I ended up being able to hire Katie Browder, who's our associate head coach now for the past 6 months and has completely changed our program. And I'm sure we'll get into that. But Katie and I have a lot of history. Many of you have heard me go on record over the past 6 months and talk about Katie. Katie and I are, life friends. We've been friends for years. And so the loyalty, the trust, that is already very established between the two of us. And to be able to bring her on and coach with her again, we coached years ago at Ole Miss together. And then she went on to go to Minnesota and then back to Ole Miss. So she was at Ole Miss when she came to Charlotte. And she is the best at player development. She is going to keep us on edge with the new and making sure that every part of our program is operating from a really elite level when it comes to skill and knowledge and strategy and recruiting. And, she keeps us on our toes and is just constantly pouring in, new thoughts and information for our staff and our players. And so she's made our players better, as far as the skills of the game. She made our practice better. She's done so much for our program. And, on top of that, the kids love her. She's created really great, authentic relationships with everybody in the program, the players, the staff, the support staff. And she's just thriving. And we're 6 months in. So it's cool to see what it is now versus what it was 6 months ago. You bring someone new into the program and there's, a transition of getting to know each other. And Katie and I talked a lot about that because we know each other so well. There really wasn't that, transition between her and I. So she got to come in and completely focus on creating the relationships and the trust that she needed with the players and the rest of the staff. And she's done that beautifully and flawlessly. And she's just been a breath of fresh air in so many ways. And I'm so excited to see the girls under her leadership perform and compete because she's just added so much to that pot. And so it's been awesome. We're living the dream, just being able to coach together. And, Katie's like a life learner. She's a super big competitor. She does not like to lose. She is just trying to always have an edge on the opponent. We're 10 days away from season, so we've got opponents on our mind. We're scouting and strategy and all that stuff currently. So I just couldn't be happier to have her on board. And it's been a lot of fun. And the kids have really reaped the reward of her in the environment. So it's been great. And Jody Davidson, he's taken over our recruiting. So Jody has just elevated himself every year in our program. So he's been a consistent factor on the staff. He started as our volunteer in 2019 and has just elevated himself as a coach in the program and his responsibilities. And, we joke because I called him this at our season opening celebration a few weeks ago, our Swiss Army knife, because he just does it all. I mean, there's just nothing the guy can't do. And he laughed at me for saying that in front of everyone. But it's the best way I can describe him. He just gets stuff done. He knows the game at a high level. He's everyone's go-to for everything. And as you guys know, there's just so much value in that. And the three of us, so Jody was at Ole Miss years ago when we coached together. So there's a lot of history between the three of us. And so you feel that in the office. There's a ton of trust there. And so it just kind of, I think, catapulted us bringing someone new. Like there was just aspects of that we skipped over because we had known each other previously. CJ Layton is returning for year 2, transitioning responsibilities. So year 1, he was kind of in a little bit of everything. So he helped with hitting, helped with infield. The one area he helped me in with pitching was scouting and scouting reports and lineups and all that kind of stuff. But he fully embedded himself into our pitching staff, our pitching development. Last summer, he made that decision. And so him and I worked really closely for 6 months with our 7 members of our pitching staff this year. I think that's one of the biggest differences from last year's team to this year's team is the depth that we have in the circle. And I think you're going to see that right away when we open up in Tallahassee, that yes, we have Sassy Pony back. Sam Gress is back. She's going to have a stellar year. We are so excited for this campaign for her. She is ready. She's prepared. I'm sure you guys will have a lot of questions about that. But I think the biggest difference is just the support that she's going to be surrounded with. I mean, I cannot wait to see all of them throw. Barefoot, Elkins, Brooke Bowling really becoming a factor on our staff for the first time since she's been a Niner. We've got 2 freshmen, Becker and Barlow, who have thrived in our environment since August. Or they're just doing so well. Taylor Barlow threw outstanding yesterday at our scrimmage yesterday afternoon. So, and who did I miss? Did I say everyone? I always miss somebody when I'm speaking about them.
Powell?
Oh, yes, Leah Powell. Yes. Big time transfer for us this summer. Big arm. She's got real sink vertically down on her fastball. It's like true ball flight, and it's hard. It's like big time velo. She's got a big time pitch. So, she'll be someone that we really rely heavily on when we need, down in the zone. I mean, she's got some of the best in the country compared with a great changeup. So, and experience. I mean, she's competed in the SEC for seasons. So just bringing kind of her experience to the staff, I think was really valuable. So I can't wait to see all 7 of them throw. And I went on that sidebar about the pitching staff because we were talking about CJ, and they're prepared and they're getting prepared for the marathon that is season. And CJ's had a huge part of that. He's leveled us up in development. He keeps me on my toes and just fresh in my mindset. It's kind of cool to work alongside somebody that is getting into pitching right now as a coach, because I got into it a decade ago and it's changed. The way we train, the information that we had then was what it was, but it is so much better now. And I just have someone that's pushing that envelope on the pitching side. And as you guys know, like, pitching is a huge reason of why you play into postseason, and why you get to postseason. So we're really excited about that aspect of the program. A couple more people on staff. We had a lot of change.
Coach, I just want to just interject here because I know you got more people to talk about. I was just interject. CJ tried to help my team at the baseball tournament, or the baseball program's golf tournament this past fall, but it was not his fault. We were beyond help, but
yeah,
CJ did do his best to try to help my team out, and we were just beyond help. But shout out to Coach CJ for trying to help us.
Yeah, it was funny when you texted me and said, "Hey, I need another person for our." Is it a foursome? That's what they call it for the golf outing for baseball. You're like, hey, someone on your staff want to play. And I just laughed out loud. I said, I mean, you aren't going to see me or Katie or probably Jody on a golf course. We would not be any help. So CJ was the person. He's actually pretty good at golf. That's something he likes to do in his free time and a hobby of his. So he was the right man for the job for sure.
Like I said, it's not his fault. We were beyond help.
Yeah.
Well, I hear that Katie's game is cornhole.
Yeah.
Who won the tournament.
Yes. Her and her wife, CJ, they crushed the cornhole tournament to the point where I kind of told them, I'm like, I don't know if y'all can play next year. Like, we need to let the people win, they laughed at me, but they are so serious and they're so good. I have been in many tailgates with them, and they are like that every single time. I mean, it is serious. So they won the cornhole tournament. And while we're on the topic of things that the staff wins, right? CJ, not that you guys won the golf tournament, but he was good at golf.
Oh no, we definitely did not win the golf tournament.
Katie and her wife, CJ, we've got two CJs going on here this year, so I have to clarify who we're talking about.
CJ
Katie
and Coach CJ.
Browder. Yeah. Katie and CJ Browder won the cornhole tournament. And I just want to give me and CJ Layton a shout out, because last Thursday, as you guys know, last week, the weather, most parts of the country, especially here in Charlotte, was rain every day, of course, because it's the preseason. And so Thursday, I owed the girls a pickleball tournament. And so Sydney, our new director of ops, created a bracket, and we went to play pickleball in South Charlotte. And I've never played before. It was the funnest. We had so much fun, and we took it super serious. And CJ Layton and I went undefeated through the winners bracket, and we won the whole thing. And the entire program played. So I've decided that pickleball is my game.
Kevin, I think you've played some pickleball, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got a little court in the neighborhood here, so the boys and I will go out and play a little bit. So yeah, let's. Sounds like a good time.
It was so fun. I've never played, and the girls, we had about half the team probably had played before, and we sent out rules videos. Everyone was up to date on the rules. How the tournament was going to be structured. We had a losers bracket that you could work back your way through. It was a lot of fun, and the girls were a little surprised that I won the tournament. But CJ and I, we were good. But anyways,
why were they surprised?
I asked the same thing. I was kind of like, why? What was the shock about? I guess they just have seen me.
Well, I mean, they know you as Coach Ashley, but you're a former D1 athlete.
Yeah, but they also know that I was a PO. So I think there's a little bit of, discrepancy on my athleticism as a whole, because I, was a PO. So they just kind of assumed that I probably wasn't great, but we'll just keep moving on there.
Pitchers are athletes too. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we try to be, at least. Okay, so I know I've got to get back to this.
We added a position to staff. We added a position.
Yeah, okay. I cannot open up season 2 without mentioning Sydney Kane, because I know a lot of you have heard from her over the course of the last couple of months. So the administration gifted us with a director of softball operations last summer. That was a big change for us. And so I owe a huge amount of gratitude to Mike Hill and Chris Thomason, Darren Spees, for making that happen for us. It's a big position just in the office day-to-day. Logistically, it takes a lot off of our entire coaching staff, and we could not have hired the most perfect person in Sydney Kane. She's exactly everything we were looking for. She has a servant's heart. She is the kindest human. Her and her husband Will moved here from Troy, Alabama, and if you haven't met them yet, they are just fabulous. And she has made our lives so much easier in so many aspects, so helpful. She's involved with every single area of the program, maybe except for practice. She doesn't really do anything in practice, obviously, but we are able to plan a better practice, and just so focused on the team and the development, because she is taking care of so many other things behind the scenes. And so just so happy she's here, and can't wait to embark on the season with her, because she's been behind the scenes planning a lot of the travel and logistics that we're about to execute here in a couple weeks. And a fun fact about her is that she did an operations internship at Florida State. So she has a ton of experience in Tallahassee and is really excited to get back there here in 10 days. So
she knows all the good spots to order food from.
Yeah, she does. Mm-hmm. And that, that makes the team real happy when that happens. And then Lexi Wagner, Cass Krupit, those are, no stranger to the program, just transitioned into a new role. They have been in the office every day with us. They both are graduate assistants finishing their degrees, and they're kind of, they get thrown stuff every single day from us of, just things that we need them to help out with. They are the first ones in the office most days, and they're just anxious and eager to help in any way possible. They've been awesome and a great resource for us. They've both learned how to throw BP, and They're extremely valuable to our staff this year. And so we're excited to have them on, and you'll see them, coaching a base or, just learning different things from Katie, Jody, and I, and CJ, whether it's day-to-day or at practice. So they've been awesome. And it's been really rewarding for me to see them transition and kind of grow up and mature in ways that you do when you're not a player.
And returning this year, I know he's got more responsibilities than just your team, but you've also got Eric McKibben on strength and conditioning again this year. And that's always huge.
Yeah. I mean, Eric is the best director of sports performance in the country. He is loving this team. The team loves him. I mean, he's created such a cool dynamic with this group. And I felt that right away when we started with this team in August. And he has trained them at a high level. And we are so blessed to have him again. And just the continuity and the consistency of that position is just insurmountable in your success. But when you have the right person and the most perfect person in that position, it just makes you feel like it makes your program just skyrocket. And that's what Eric does for us every day. He's in the weight room early. He allows our kids to come in and get extra work, or, he's a resource for them. And then we have just team lift. I went in team lift on Sunday, and it's just such a great vibe. The music is, positive and upbeat, and the kids are getting after it, and that all starts with him. He creates that environment, and then they bring that down to practice. So in a lot of ways, our days, they start with E, and he could not set a better tone for us every single day. So him and Nikki got married in September. That was a really special moment for us to see him take that step in his life, and for the both of them to start that chapter together. And they're just the best people. And, we are beyond blessed every year that the two of them choose to stay in Charlotte, because when you're really good at your job, like that's what you do. You choose to stay because you have other opportunities. So he's just the best. And, he will be top of the list reasons of success this year. I mean, it all points back to what he does.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence. He's working with baseball and he's working with softball, and people around the country take note of that. So when you've got people like Eric, they're like you said, they're here because they want to be here, because he could certainly find suitors on the open market if he so desired. So yeah. So let me do this. You got all these people changing titles, and we brought up Life Steps. You got any new titles that you want to talk about?
I've been getting asked that question a lot.
You got any new titles, or maybe life steps, anything like that going on?
Yeah, we are planning a wedding here behind the scenes. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. If not, then we just need to roll with it. Yeah,
it is. Okay. No, it is.
Yeah. I mean, just a really exciting time of life for Robert and I. You guys have obviously been a part of our relationship for a long time. And
in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's not what I meant. But, just a support. I mean, you guys have kind of been there from the early stages of just support when, when we needed it. And we just are so thankful to everyone for just kind of supporting us through this journey that we've been on together, and now making the decision to get married. And, when you can marry the love of your life and your best friend, I mean, it's just the best feeling. And so, we're planning a wedding. I've been getting a lot of questions about the date and everything. So we are getting married on November 30th of this year in Charlotte, North Carolina. I don't know if we could have picked any other location. I'm like, just makes a lot of sense. Robert's from here. We met here. We coach here. I mean, this is our favorite place on the planet. So here in Charlotte, November 30th, I know both teams are really excited about it. There's a lot of people that are really excited about it. And we could not be more grateful for that, just the support and all the love that we've felt the last few months and continue to feel. So we just really appreciate it.
Kevin, Brad, maybe we should like podcast from the reception or something.
We can have a pre-show.
We should do a pre-wedding show that week or something. Yeah, that would be.
Just preview the weekend ahead.
I won't be stressed out at all. It'll be all calm, cool, and collected days before. I'm sure.
It's always
so definitely a Diamond Niners Weekly, Diamond Niner Gals crossover episode.
That's a great idea.
Let's add some more to that week for Ashley.
Yeah. I mean, it's no big deal. It's no big deal at all. All right. Well, I tell you what. Oh, that's the last time. That's the last time we'll ask you about that. How about that? I know you get asked about that a lot. So
that's okay.
We're just putting it on record in case somebody's been under a rock or off social media. So,
but to your point though, as we move on here, I feel like having two Coach Woodards on campus is a little strange, as far as like people start calling me Coach Woodard too. I feel like that might not roll. We might not roll with that, but we'll work all those details out as we go.
Well,
you got to figure that out.
Here's the deal. It could, because it would be like, Coach Woodard. Well, which one? Oh,
exactly.
The conference champion. No, that's still both of them. I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna.
Yeah.
It's like the two CJs thing.
That has definitely added a layer of complication and communication in the office some days.
Yeah. Well, let's talk facilities. You want to do that? You want to talk upgrades at the Sioux, because you've got some stuff going on out there at the Sioux that I think fans are going to pick up on really quickly once the home slate starts.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's start with right field. Let's talk about what's happening out there in right field. There's a great new set of bleachers up out there. I just went up there yesterday. It was a little windy up at the top of those bleachers yesterday, but went and checked it out. And I got to say, Coach, and Kevin, you and I talked about this offline. When they said they were going to put some bleachers in, I thought, okay, let's see how this goes, how this looks. It turned out really great. I mean, it's really well done. I can't wait to watch a game from out there.
Yeah. I didn't really know what to expect either, if I'm being honest with you. I knew it was going to be great, but I think that we really underestimated how awesome the new edition of the stands are. Jody and I walked out there one day. We were in the offensive segment of practice, and so we were in transition. Everyone was hitting, and we walked out there, and it's incredible. It's the best view of the field now. When you're out there, it's way bigger than I think in my head I anticipated, which is great. And I think all the credit goes to the people that have come to watch us play over the past couple of years, because, we've started to have a great problem of we don't have room for everyone. And if people aren't invested and interested in what we're doing, then, we don't even have the conversation to start with. And then all the credit goes to the administration. And I just really feel led and convicted to point out a few individuals, because this has been something we've talked about for a couple of years. And, without Mike and Darren and Chris Thomason and Cass Ferguson, who, led the charge on this project, those bleachers and those extra seats wouldn't be there. It's an investment on their end into our program, which they continually do. Every semester, I feel like we're getting invested in from a financial standpoint in the administration. And so I'm super grateful for that. I think Mike is a man of his word. All the conversations that he and I have had over the years have rang true in his support of the program. And then Chris Thomason is our sport administrator, and he's the best in the country, and just really side by side helps us get things done for this program. And the girls are really excited about it. Our current parents are really excited about it. And it's been something people have been asking about for the past couple of seasons of, hey, like, when are we going to add more seats? Because there's not room for everyone. And we went through several fall games in October, if you guys remember, where it's just fall ball and packed house. You know, people are staying in the parking lot and trying to see the field from different angles. And so I couldn't be more grateful for the investment from our administration. And I'm really excited to see it packed now, because those stands and those seats add such an element to the landscape of the field. Like when you're at home and looking out at the new video board that we got in 23, and now these extra, I think around 400 extra seats.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. And I'm ready to pack it. And you know, me, I love a rowdy crowd, which leads into the next upgrade. I'm sure you guys are about to talk about it, but you know, we've got Brew at the Sioux this year. I mean, our parents have been asking me for seasons of like, when are we going to be able to have beer sold at the games, you know? And it seems like such a small thing.
I've been asking for that.
Yeah, you guys too. Just diehard fans, community parents, people that want to come to the game and have a great time and just, you know, enjoy the atmosphere. And so that's another element that we're really excited about, is just elevating our fan experience. You know, and those things, it's not like our current team are going to be really involved with either of those things on game day, but it does also elevate their experience, you know, to the current Niner gals that are wearing the uniform. And it's an investment into them and who they are and what they do for our program in this university. So we're thankful and excited and can't wait for our home opener to see it packed. You know, we've got some big games on the schedule that I think we're going to have a lot of people.
I think it's going to be like Wrigley Field. It reminds me of the Wrigley Field vibe with the ivy / bushes, and then you got some beer out there as well to serve Brew at the Sioux. I just was talking with Nick today. We got to work on a nickname for that area of the Sioux. We got to get it. I think it could have a cool nickname.
Yeah. The staff and I were talking about that too the other day. It's like we wondered what it was going to get tagged at here sooner than later. So we're excited to see what you guys come up with.
We'll have to put some thought behind that, Kevin. I mean,
we'll have to experience it first and then let the people speak.
I tell you this, I predict that, I mean, yesterday we were out, stopped by the scrimmage, and, you know, there's always parents and friends, you know, checking out a weekend scrimmage preseason. I predict that once everything gets going, those will become the preferred seats out there, and that you may actually have an easier time getting a seat behind home plate because people are going to want to be out there. Just my prediction. Yeah.
I'll be interested to see kind of the trend of where people kind of migrate to once it's kind of established over the first couple of weeks of us playing. But I agree. I think there's a chance that people are going to really love being out there, especially as the weather gets better. You know, I think it's going to be a great atmosphere, and that's really what we're trying to create, is an atmosphere. I mean, we want visiting teams to feel that they're playing at the Sioux. And that starts with the crowd and, you know, our team, and it all adds together.
Now it is seat backs versus bleachers, so there's that difference. But as far as the view, you're not gonna get a better look at the field than out there in right field from the bleachers now. You know, and hey, I mean, if we start filling those up, I mean, I don't know, I haven't looked at this, but is there room for another set to the left of the video board?
Yeah. We had a lot of discussion about where to locate this, and I had originally said like left field would be great for a couple of reasons, but I think now that it's there, I realize why that really couldn't happen, because I don't know how much space, right? It might not be a structure that is as big that could fit over there, because you're dealing with that sidewalk and you get into the street. So there's just a little bit less room, less real estate on that side. But, you know, again, like you guys keep showing up and we we will continue to try to solve the problems to create a great atmosphere and a great fan experience for everyone. But yeah, it's a great view.
Well, let me ask you this, facilities wise, because I know this as a staff, and when you talk to the baseball staff, this is the kind of thing that they talk about. You saw this last year in first person, that being able to play a regional at home is a huge deal and a huge advantage. So obviously seating was one of the things that we've needed. What else would have to be done at the Sioux to make it possible to host an NCAA regional?
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because as soon as the seats went up and that project was getting complete, we had that conversation. Chris Thomason and I started discussing that. And so we're in the works of discussing that and seeing how far off we are. The seating was probably the number one limitation. And so now, we've kind of checked that off the box. I think the second limitation would be the lighting. But at the Sioux, we don't have quite the same challenges with bringing in extra lights that you do at the Hayes, because we're much flatter all the way around the perimeter. And so, we've started having that discussion on, would it be possible for us to bring in lights for the time of the regional,
like the portable Musco units that you can pull in on a trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, because we have a little bit flatter ground around the stadium than some of the challenges that they have at the Hayes Stadium with bringing in extra lighting. So we're actively having that conversation. So we're working on it. We're trying to get some answers. So stay tuned. I might have a better update for you in a couple weeks with some of that answer, so we could revisit that conversation.
Well, Kevin, I would say that the good news is, with the trajectory of the program, it's more likely than not than the team's going to force somebody to make a decision.
Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, and truthfully, I mean, Kevin, 2021 baseball was looking at potentially using like the ballpark in Gastonia when they were in contention for a host site, but Coach, I really don't think it's not like you can go to the minor league ballpark and rent that out. I mean, you've got to make it happen where you're at.
Yeah, no, you're right. But there's not a collegiate, there wouldn't be anything locally that would be able to be turned into a collegiate regional. But yeah, so we would have to make it happen on campus, which would be, dream come true for the program. We've got a lot of work to do before that would be our reality. But the fact that it's even conversation with our administration is where it starts. I mean, you have to have vision, you have to have forethought on that stuff and not get caught by surprise. And, we're going to keep doing our part and building championship teams and putting a great product on the field that we believe wholeheartedly in, and really excited about this group. Here we are 48 minutes in, and we haven't even talked about the team. And that's, for me, the most important part, most exciting part of the next 10 days is just the group of girls that we have created wonderful chemistry and, are ready to play, ready to start the season. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things. We had 2 recruits this past weekend on campus, and, I just said it a couple of times, like, it's just such an exciting time to be a part of what we're doing, not only with our program, just in our athletic department, everything that we have going on, men's basketball, what they're doing right now, women's basketball is having a stellar season. We're really excited about the brand and the momentum that we have and being in the American Conference. I mean, all these things that we've talked about, I think pre-COVID and into COVID, we're kind of living in those realities, and it's just really rewarding and exciting to kind of see it all to come to fruition day to day.
Did you see her drop her own segue again, Kevin?
She's doing her job for us.
I love it. I wish somebody would do that for me at work.
Well, let's talk about the team. Let's talk about the girls. We want to start with you talked a little bit about the pitching staff. Let's go behind the plate. Lexi Winters last year, freshman year, was the all conference, all freshman team. Had a great season behind the plate. Tell us what you're seeing behind the plate this season.
Yeah, that's a really cool story that I can tell the shortened version of it here in a minute, but really excited to return Lexi Winters. I mean, she got so much experience behind the plate for us yesterday. Our entire pitching staff has a ton of trust in her, and that is still true to this day with this team. All 7 of them love throwing to her. Winnie is an elite receiver. She was top 10 in receiving in the country last year. She is an elite receiver. She makes us look really good. She steals pitches for us multiple times a game, and when you're stealing pitches, that just results in outs. And so she does her part behind the plate. I think the area that she's grown in the most that I've seen her from the regional through the fall to today, even this weekend at practice, is her throwing. I mean, she's cleaned up her transfer. Her arm is stronger. Transfer is faster. She's throwing people out. So I think that's the biggest change that we've seen in her. And that happens. Like you have a lot of bold confidence from, a great freshman year that she got to catch a lot for us. And she's already an elite receiver naturally and just works to refine that skill day to day with Jody Davidson, our catching coach. But I've been super impressed with her throwing, her transfer and her arm strength, and how she's been throwing runners out really since fall practice. So I think that's going to be something that you see from her right away. And then at a really high level of baseball, softball, whatever you're talking about, I mean, you've got to have some catching staff. I mean, it's such a grueling position physically. It's all mentally grueling, but, the catcher just endures so much physically in the course of a season. And so that was a hole for us, to be honest, last summer, is just finding the right person to bring in alongside Winnie. And we found that in Raina Blackwell. And she it's a really cool story how she ended up a Niner, and we wouldn't change it for a second. I don't think she would either. But Raina decided to graduate high school a whole year early in August. So she's hitting August 1st, thinking she's about to start her senior year of high school, to then us giving her a call and saying, hey, will you come catch for us? Right now, she had the ability from a NCAA perspective to graduate early. And so we brought her on. She came on a visit. Her parents, we were like, oh my gosh, is this happening? And it was scary. It was, definitely a risk on their end, putting trust in us, and, kind of such a short last minute time frame, but she came early. We figured it out. She graduated. She thought she was starting her senior year of high school. And then, 2 weeks later, she's stepping foot on campus here at Charlotte and on the team. And she has thrived. She's absolutely thrived. She's learning every single day. She has just been such a cool personality for the program. She's doing so great. And, the skills that she brought into the program, she's got a big time arm. If you've seen Raina, she's the big, tall redhead on the team. You can't miss her. I mean, she's over 6 foot tall. She's thrived under Eric. That was one area of her just missing that year of high school. We knew that we were going to have to really focus on with her. It's just her overall physicality. So she had the height, and she's put on a ton of muscle and gotten so much stronger since she stepped foot on campus in August. And that, that's a testament to her and E working together on that. She's got a big time arm, and she's working every day to become an elite receiver. So really proud of her. Love having her. Can't wait to see her compete here soon.
Why don't we just keep working on the diamond? Because you've got a big hole to fill at first base with Cass Crumpet now in the dugout with you. So why don't you talk a little bit about what it looks like at first base?
So really the plan all along last year was that Ari Rhodey was our first baseman this year. I mean, that's been the forethought on our end as a staff. When Katie came on board in the summer and started evaluating the team and we started practice and evaluating skill, that rang to be true. I mean, we have molded Ari into being our first baseman. And so she's earned that through the off season, through the fall. She's done a great job over there for us. She got the luxury, and I do say luxury because there is something to be said about coming in as a freshman and being able to learn from an elite player in front of you. And so we painted that picture for her behind the scenes last year in the office, in conversations of like, we see this is what we're grooming you to be, right? We need you to learn from Cass as much as you can, and then be ready to take it over when she's done. Cass was an elite first baseman last year. She was so good, and Ari got to see all of that firsthand, knowing that was going to be her, sooner than later. So she's doing a great job at first. She didn't play there a lot last year, but you wouldn't necessarily feel that when you're at our practices and you're at the Sioux watching us train. She looks and acts like she's been doing it a long time. So she's super mature. Year 2 for her. Ari's got a ton of power. So what you're going to get from her is also a big bat in the order. We anticipate her being in the middle of our order a lot. She's going to be a run producer for us. That's only elevated under Katie's leadership and knowledge from an offensive development standpoint. So big things from Rhodey. Rhodey from Rhode Island. Love her. She's such a cool kid. She's not really a kid. I don't mean to say that if she's listening, but really, really awesome. And I am really excited. I'm really excited about watching her just kind of step up and take over that role for us this season. I think she's ready for it.
I'll say one more time, Kevin. I'm going to say it one more time, and then I'll move on from it. Since we were talking about Cass at first base, she was Conference Player of the Year last year. I don't care what anybody says. Cass was Conference Player of the Year last year. But to your point about watching an elite first baseman, she was that elite. She was dead to rights Conference Player of the Year last year. Anyway, enough of that. I'll never say it again, Kevin.
I'm sure you will, but that's okay.
I'll find a way to work it in eventually.
Let's go to the other corner infield position, Coach. You got Ella Chansey returning over there. She's got some preseason accolades. Veteran over there at the hot corner. Talk a little bit about her and her progression this year.
Yeah, Ella is a cornerstone of our team now. I mean, it's really hard to talk about our program and not talk about her. That is due to, I think, a couple things. One, because she has played every day at third base in our lineup for 2 straight seasons. So she played every day as a freshman. That year, I think she was innocent, just as most freshmen are. You just kind of dive into it, not knowing what to expect. There are no expectations. She became an elite player that year and had a great freshman year. She got top 25 freshman in the country that year, if you guys remember that at the end. And then, sophomore season shows up and there's just a ton of pressure that happens as a sophomore when you've played every day as a freshman. And so that was a whole nother battle for her as year 2. And, I think she learned a lot. And she was a huge reason of our success last year. I think when we got done at the regional, Ella was actually kind of doing this offensively. I thought she was hitting her stride there at the end when we needed her the most. And I think year 2 for her was about growing up and learning how to handle her mental preparation skills. And, so I think year 1 and year 2 has just kind of been this like blend of perfect development for her. She's right where she needs to be. She's ready for her junior season. she is so seasoned and so veteran, and she's so poised and confident, and you can just see it every day at practice. Like, she's ready. She's ready for everything. At this point, there's not much we can throw at her that she hasn't already experienced and been through. And so she's a cornerstone of our infield, but of our team. And, she's one of those that when she speaks, people listens. I mean, she doesn't always have something to say, but it's really powerful when she does. And her voice is really strong in the locker room. She's a huge part of our accountability system. And on top of that, like, she's just a great person. I mean, she has such high character, and she she just makes us proud with like who she is and the decisions that she makes. And she just has such a bright future ahead of her whenever she's done playing. And I'm not ready for that day. I'm not wishing it here, but she's just going to do really big things. But year 3, junior year, Ella, I mean, I'm just can't wait to see it all unfold. It's been, just kind of this amazing journey that we've been on with her. So I think she's ready. I know she's ready. Just like a really bold confidence. We talked about having a bold confidence rooted in humility at practice yesterday before we started our scrimmage. And I think she embodies that to a T. I was really excited to see her get the top 10 third baseman. I think she is, I think she earned it. She deserves it. She's that good. And I think I think defensively, she's refined her skills, at the bag, just some things with Katie, the kind of opening her mind to that side of the game. But I think at the plate, I think she's really freed herself up to have a stellar year offensively.
That's going to be a lot of fun to watch unfold, because it feels like she's been here like a long time already. I mean, just because, and it's like you said, I mean, she's just been on the field for so long. And played so many games already, you kind of forget. Like I said, it just feels like she's been here forever at this point. What about up the middle? Let's talk up the middle in the infield and what it looks like there.
Yeah, we've got 3 middle infielders. If you come to any of our inter squads or scrimmages or practices, you can kind of see those 3 kind of rotating, moving around. Corey Hoffler, 5th year, the best player leader that I have ever coached. And if someone does a better job than her in the future, I mean, I want to see it because she is just impeccable with everything she does. But
she gave us a good interview last year.
Yeah. I mean, we could honestly, we've been on here for an hour and 2 minutes now. I could spend an hour and 2 minutes just talking about Corey Hoffler. I mean, really, I could. So, but just in terms of our middle infielder, she anchors us. She has started her career as our shortstop, 4 years ago. 2019, she was on the team when we got here, and just has like in every way, shape, or form molded herself and just to an elite person, elite player. She's our head captain this year. She was a captain last year behind Lexi Wagner, but she took over the head captain role this year, and she is our commander-in-chief. I mean, she makes sure everyone's heartbeat is the same, in line. She assumes so much responsibility because she can, and she's ready for it. She's just earned the respect of our entire program and our entire community. But she's our everyday second baseman. I mean, it was kind of fun for me to get Katie's like unbiased view of everyone, because, when you spend time around people for years, like you're going to create bias, and not necessarily negative, but like you just have this view of them and these expectations that are just naturally created with experiences. And I just remember Katie, after a couple of weeks working with her, with Corey, was like, Corey's elite. Like, she's like the best second baseman I've ever coached. And I was like, oh, I know. Like, it is real. Like, it is real. And it's been self-made. Like, she was not that elite. And I'm not trying to offend her by saying this, and I don't think she will be, but she was not that elite at defense when we started 4 years ago. Like, she's had to work herself I mean, practice after practice, long hours, ground ball after ground ball. I mean, she just makes plays that just will blow your mind. I mean, she does it every day at scrimmage. So she's just so consistent, and she's going to anchor us defensively, definitely in the middle infield. She makes all of the decisions on the field for us. And then at short, you've got two that are kind of battling it out for it, honestly. You got Savannah Wynn, who played there every single day for us last year, who made some errors early in the season last year. There's a lot behind that. I mean, Savannah, her freshman fall, didn't get to train fully with the team because her spring season of high school basketball, she tore ACL. So she was rehabbing coming into the program as a freshman, and she didn't get a normal freshman fall. I mean, she barely participated for months, fully with the team. And then so we come back January of 2023, and she's just now full go, and then took on the responsibility of being our everyday shortstop, within a month of one of the toughest schedules in the country. And she handled it so gracefully, made some mistakes early, but settled into the position. I mean, if you guys remember, she played elite defense from like March on. I mean, it was elite, and she is an elite defender. She's got a great glove. Her and Corey have a connection. They played those positions together every single day last year, but they opened their arms to Tegan Ritchie. And Tegan Ritchie is from Albemarle, North Carolina. She makes fun of me because I used to not say where she was from, but I've kind of perfected it, Albemarle. You have to say it fast. It rolls off the tongue. But Tegan's a big time player. She is very good at the game. She's really good at the skills. She has elite ball security as a defender. Ball security is one of the most important things we talk about. It's one of the most important things we do. Excuse me. Had a stellar career at West Stanley, won state championships, broke records. We've been anxiously waiting for Tegan Ritchie to step foot on campus. And she's awesome. I mean, just watching her compete with those two, them taking her under the wing and just showing her the way, this is how we do things. The thing about our team and our program that I love so much is how selfless it is. Like, they could have easily, with any of our freshmen that come in and compete for spots that these people have earned in the past, like, they could just be like, I'm not helping you. Like, this is my spot. I don't want to help you out, but that's just not how we operate. That's not how we roll. It's not the people that we have. And they just took her under the wing, and she's learned, I think, something every single day. She's continuing to learn, and she's a good player. She's an elite defender. Ball security is stellar. She's got a big bat at the plate. I think we experienced that in a couple fall games on our fall schedule. And so she's just someone that I can't wait to see break like on the scenes. And we're going to give them all as much experience as we can, especially early when season starts, because we're better with all of them being their best. And so that's kind of the, I think, forethought and the thought we have as a staff is, you're going to see them all on the field at some point, right when we go, because we've got to put them all in these big time situations. So we've got some veteran, obviously, with Hoffler. We've got a second year in Wynn, and then we've got a freshman with Ritchie in the middle. And it's a really cool trio going on there.
Coach, before we jump into the outfield, can you talk a little bit about Ashley Washington bringing back some senior leadership this year and what she brought to the table last year?
Yeah.
I think she was all conference last year.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought her up because she was such a spark plug for us last year. Ash is the 23 team. Ash kind of established herself as an offensive player. She was our leadoff most of the year. I think from week 2 of season on, like, she was our leadoff. She got us going. The team rallied behind her offensively. She dictated what we did offensively a lot. And so, Ash right now is training at first base. We went to her and said, hey, like, if you want a shot to impact the game defensively, like, this is probably where we need you, right? This is probably the area that we see this working out. And so she's been training at first with Ari all fall, and she's handled it like a pro, learning a new position. I mean, yeah, I mean, they've been playing the game their whole lives, but there's just nuances and details of a first baseman that it would blow your mind, of the things that they work on and just how elite their training is. So, we threw her over there in the fire and just kind of said, hey, like, embrace it. And she did. And she's been a pro at it and been really good. And so, she's been training at first for us. She hops over in the middle sometime in scrimmage, if we need her to. But with Hoffler, Wynn, and Richie kind of rotating into the middle, it made a lot of sense for us to move Washington to train her at first. And so that's what we did. We made that decision early on. And she's a team player. Like, she's on board for it. She was 2 feet in and loves offense. So she's like, however I can get in the lineup to hit, I'm good, But yeah, she's a strong voice on our team. Ash is a big personality, and she's been a joy to have around. She makes things fun and light. And I think more than ever, this team, as her senior year, she has spoken more wisdom to this team than I've ever heard from her mouth. I think that's just a accumulation of what she's learned, her maturity over the past couple of years, the experiences that she has endured. She graduated high school a whole semester early. Raina came a whole year early, while Ash came a semester early. So, she, from the start, her journey has not been the easiest, challenge after challenge that she's overcome. But I just find her week to week speaking wisdom to the team. And that's been really cool to see. And, she anchors us in, our system and our thought process, and, someone that I'm excited to see have a breakout senior year. I mean, I want this year for Ash to be the best statistical year that she's had yet as a senior. And so that's the path that we're on.
Coach, not only was Ashley lead off, at one point she was like designated walk-off. There was a stretch of the season. I'm sure I'm just remembering this, I'm inflating it as I remember it, but it felt like there was a several week stretch where she was hitting a walk-off like every other game. It felt like, if we look back, Kevin, it was probably like 2 walk-offs or something like that. But it felt like every time we needed a walk-off that Ashley was always coming to the plate and she was clutch. So yeah, looking for big things for her. So we do need to take the outfield. We'll take it as one. I'll say this to listeners. We're normally we would definitely, I've got on the list here, it's we would talk about the schedule. We'll bump that conversation to next week because if you're new, we're going to do this every week. Now that we're back, we won't stop this until the season's over. And if that's Oklahoma City, that's fine with us. We can podcast from Oklahoma City. No worries there. So we'll bump that schedule conversation back to next week, Coach. But we'll talk schedule and preview the tournament in Florida State. But why don't you talk about your outfield?
Yeah, so I think the outfield was the area that you were going to see kind of the most change. We had Lexi Wagner, who played center field for us every day for 2 years. Bailey was our everyday right fielder. You've kind of got Kaya Garrett that has been in and out of that DP outfield spot, usually in left. But we have a lot of new faces in the outfield. This is where we've seen kind of our biggest transition, most change. You've got Abby Knight, our Boston College transfer, who came in as someone who could play third for us. But after a couple of weeks of evaluation, we thought it best for our whole group for Abby to train in the outfield. And so we kind of we threw that in about maybe late September, October. And she's been out there ever since. And she's going to be someone that you see at the top of our order. She's our only lefty bat in the program right now. And so she's been awesome for Jody out there in the outfield. Abby is like tough. Like she's gritty. She's a tough out. She's going to make plays because she's going to play hard. And so with that comes a lot of trust and respect from the people around her. We've got Christina Wellen in the outfield, who is just super fast. She's probably she's probably the most elite with balls in the air of our outfield group right now. I mean, ball in the air, she's going to track it down. She's going to go catch it. She has no fear. She doesn't fear the wall. You see her like run. I mean, you see her run into the wall at practice and scrimmage sometimes, and I'm just holding my breath because I'm like, there's just no way she didn't just hurt herself. She's just full speed all the time, and she's got a ton of speed. So she plays hard. She loves the outfield too. I think she takes a lot of pride in her craft, which we love. You've got Michaela Mitchell, who has been in the program now for 3 years. This is her senior campaign. I think you're going to see Michaela impact the game more than she ever has, contribute more than she ever has this year. That's been really cool. She's also a captain for us, like just to see her kind of blossom into a senior leader after watching others before her do it the last few years. So she's got experience. Like her and Kaya have experience in the outfield for us. They just weren't our everyday starters for the last couple of years, but they put themselves in that conversation because they're the best they've ever been right now. And so they're competing for spots. And so that's been a really competitive aspect of the program. You've got London Dirks returning for her sophomore year, who is practicing and scrimmaging so well right now. She's just really elevated every aspect of her game. You've got Olivia Williams, a freshman in the outfield right now, who her and Wellen are our speed. Like they're the two fastest kids on the team, two new players in the program. That was one thing that we as a staff really wanted to focus on between last year's team and this year's team, was just becoming faster, more athletic on the bases and on the field wherever we were. Those two have really added to that. So who am I missing? Garlick, Kaylin Garlick is a hometown girl. She's went to Charlotte Christian. She's from Mint Hill. She's in the outfield, just really solid defensively. I mean, she's kind of one that has played outfield her whole life. And when the ball's hit, she's going to make the right read. She's going to go catch it. She's going to hit the cut. She's going to make the right decision wherever the ball needs to go. And so there's just a lot of trust with her being able to play defense for us. I'm trying to make sure I didn't leave anyone out. I think that's everybody. As you can see, like we've got a big group out there. We've got a big group. It's really competitive. I could see us getting different people in different scenarios at the start, just trying to give people time and experience. In February, we play a lot of games on the weekends in February. It's, the preseason. So it's a great opportunity for us to work different defenses, to get people in different situations, to see how they're going to handle things. And, we just have a lot of confidence that they're going to do really well, no matter who we put out there.
I know both of you are tired of hearing me say this, but I'll give Kaylin Garlick a shout out. Her and my daughter Maddie played softball together when they were like 5 and 6 years old. So they were on the team together. And
before you move on, I'm sorry.
That team, but nothing I said impacted her softball career at all. So anyway, Coach, go ahead.
I forgot about Emma Tisdale. I knew I was forgetting someone here. Emma Tisdale is someone that she was a freshman last year. She ran a ton of bases, like a ton of really key base running situations for us. Emma came in as an infielder. And over the course of her freshman year, just development wise, we just made the decision to transition her to the outfield full time this year. So she's been in the grass full time since we started in August. And she's another one that has gotten so much better under Jody's leadership out there, and just gaining confidence in scrimmages and practices and stuff. So I was counting in my head. I'm like, there's somebody else out there.
Well, Emma she was basically like your first off the bench pinch runner last year.
Yes. Her in London ran a lot for us. And, I don't necessarily know what kind of roles people are going to evolve into right now, because so much of that is, kind of changes as we get going here in a couple of days. But I have a lot of trust in Emma, and I have a lot of trust in London because of ways that they came through for our team last year, in really key situations. They're selfless. And both of them are better players this year than they were last year. It's just progression of their development. So, that still remains true. And I think, getting them at bats, putting them in the outfield, putting them in situations to thrive is what we're going to do. And so it's exciting. It's a big group. It's an exciting group. There's some aspects of the program that seem very similar to last year's group, and there's other aspects that seem very different. Every team every year is different, from a chemistry, personality, accountability, and also skills. This team is fast. This team is athletic. This team's offense is going to be a lot more action, a lot more run action. We're going to have run scorers. We're going to have run producers. So I'm excited to see how it all comes together. Start here in a couple of days and begins the marathon.
Well, you've got to have so many people, Coach. I mean, like talking about like somebody like Emma playing or London playing those roles last year, and then they're trying to find their way this year as far as settling into a role. But I mean, you guys play. I mean, first of all, when we get to talk about it next week, you guys play a tremendously difficult schedule, but it's also a grueling schedule, and people are just going to miss games. I mean, that's you don't want that to happen, but it's going to happen just because of the wear and tear of the season. So you've got to have people locked in and ready to step into those roles when the inevitable does occur.
Yeah, no, you do. You're so right. I mean, there's things out of our control. We pray for safety and, healthy players and mindsets all the time, but, that's not necessarily a reality all the time. And so I think it is important to build depth and to build trust, not only in a few players, but in every player on your roster. We don't have dead weight. Like, we don't have players that just can't help us win. I mean, everybody on our team in the locker room is valuable, and everybody has a purpose, and everybody is going to contribute in the success of our season. So it's just so important to build all of those things in the off season and the preseason, and then, learn, when we start, when we open up season in Tallahassee, it's just the beginning of the next chapter for us to learn together. So that way we're our best, months from now. So that's the goal. And I couldn't be prouder of the group. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. Last year was, like I started with an hour and a half ago, of just unforgettable, right? 2023, unforgettable, monumental, never looking back, move the needle, knock the door down. And this group is just as driven, just as talented, just as close, just as accountable. I mean, all the things that you saw from the 2023 Niner Gals. I mean, this group is right there neck and neck, and they're their own identity. They're their own team. And so it's going to be a great year, exciting year, a lot of great things happening. And yeah, we will, I'm sure, dive deep into the schedule next time.
Yeah, we'll take a crack at that, because hey, I mean, the next time we talk here, it's opening week.
Yep. Yeah.
When are you guys heading to Tallahassee?
Yeah, so we had the opportunity to play Florida State on Thursday night. So season kicks off for college softball on Thursday night. That would be the what is that? The 8th, the 7th? Am I right? Let's see. I know it's the Thursday, the 7th.
Yeah, Thursday's the 8th.
So Thursday's the 8th. Yeah, that's right. So we head to Tallahassee on the 7th, on Wednesday. I'm making sure I have my dates right here. So we'll go down Wednesday. We fly direct down. As I alluded to, Sydney's been a dream with this trip because she knows everything to do. Fly down, we'll practice, we'll get settled in, and then we open up with Florida State Thursday, the 8th at 6 p.m. So that's the only game we play on Thursday night, opening night of college softball across the country. We expect big crowds. I mean, Florida State had, the season they had last year, they're preseason ranked and right at the top. So they have a great atmosphere. They have great facilities. It's a big time softball environment. So we're anticipating a big time game right off the bat. And I know our girls are really looking forward to it.
Any ideas about potentially streaming for that game or anything? Any coverage?
I believe we will definitely have coverage. So I'll dig into those details and have them for you next week when we talk about it. But yeah, it'll be available from afar.
Yeah, because Kevin, last season, I mean, it's awesome that the gals get this opportunity to play the competition they're playing. But that opening night against South Carolina last year at the Sioux, that was a lot of fun.
It was.
We really needed those extra stands that game, if you guys remember. I mean,
yes,
right.
We had, I mean,
and the brew with the Sioux.
Yeah, we needed both of those things then, but we wouldn't have them now if that game didn't happen. So, it all as accumulation adds up.
Yeah, so we've got a lot to talk about next time. I want to dig a little deeper into pitching and some other things. So we got lots to talk about.
Yeah, we've only got what 16, 17 weeks to hash all this out. So
we'll have to find some guest speakers because I'm not sure everyone wants to listen to me talk for 16 or 17 weeks. But as we've talked about, we've got some stellar people in the program that I'm sure will be on.
We had some great folks on last season, and I'm sure we'll do it again this year. So, all right, let's put a bow on this. This is week 1 in the books. I know we almost went an hour and a half, and yeah, we could have gone like 2.5 hours. I mean, we could have just let Coach Ash talk about Corey Hoffler for the remainder. But it's exciting to be back. Can't wait to watch the Niner gals on the field. So if you want to follow us, check Diamond Niner Report out. We're all over social, primarily a Twitter platform, but we do have Facebook and Kevin monitors the Instagram. Kevin has become like an Instagram wizard.
No, I wouldn't go there.
Every once in a while, Kevin's like, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, "No, where is that?" He's like, "Oh, it's on the gram." And I'm like, "Well, that's why I didn't see it." So Kevin's our Instagram guru. This you can find this podcast on YouTube. That's producer Brad will have it posted up on YouTube, and you can also find it on Spotify as well. That's where we'll put this. So follow, subscribe, follow along. It's going to be a fun ride. Can't wait to get it started here in 10 days. So for Kevin, Coach Ashley, producer Brad, this has been Nick. And hey, pretty soon we'll see you at the Sioux.
See you at the Sioux.